What's up guys? Today we're going to check out Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves on 4K UHD. I'm not going to get into how good or bad the movie is, I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot in 4.5K, it's got a 4K DI, it's rated PG-13, runtime is 134 minutes, aspect ratio is 239:1, and the audio is in Dolby Atmos. If you don't know what the Atmos viewer is, you can find a video link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it. This sounds exactly as I remember it when I saw it at the theater, which is a good thing because it's one of the very few dynamic Atmos mixes to come out this year. Since there's plenty of scenes that aren't full of action, you'll hear tons of great atmospheric effects that come at you from every direction. You've got birds chirping in the background, insects, and other environmental effects that float right past your face. At about 59 minutes in at the Red Wizard's meeting, there's these explosions that happen right above your head, which if you had full-range speakers would probably sound pretty good. And there's other effects that swirl throughout the lower channels. At around 39 minutes in, there's a really cool getaway scene with this bird dodging arrows mid-flight, so you'll hear the arrows when they whiz right past your head. And as far as bass, there's a handful of really good bass drops in this. At 10 minutes in, when the Red Wizard casts that spell, you'll get a nice blast of LFE that'll rumble the ground. There's another spell at about 39 minutes that drops pleasantly low as well, and of course there are a bunch of action scenes that will give your subs plenty to do throughout this movie. And dialogue always remained clean and clear throughout. If you're new to the channel and you're into home theater and like to know if a movie is worth playing on your surround sound setup, or like to know about the latest and greatest in audio and video gear, tap the subscribe button for new weekly videos. And also, thank you to all of my Patreon and YouTube member subscribers for supporting the channel and making this purchase of Dungeons & Dragons possible on the Kaleidescape so I can bring you, the home theater movie-loving community, this 4K review. If you want to join Patreon or the YouTube membership, you can find links down below in this video's description. As for the video quality, yes, this movie was shot digitally, so you might expect it to be digitally 4K crispy, but that's not exactly the case. It might be from the lens choice that they used, or they could have added a small amount of digital grain to the film, because there is a slight softness to the image that keeps it from being razor sharp. I wouldn't say if you hate film grain, you're going to hate the way this movie looks, but just know that it's not clean and pristine. There's still plenty of good detail with plenty of textural refinement from costumes to the trees and the grass outside, and you can even count the strands of hair if you really want to. As for the HDR, it's got a max CLL of 419 and a max FALL of 330, so it's not going to be an eye scorcher, although I didn't find it to be all that dim. It's got some nice highlights from flames and reflective surfaces, but again, nothing that's going to make you squint. The color palette is also not going to join the HDR demo list since it's mostly browns, greens, oranges, earthy hues that aren't particularly bright and vivid. Black levels look perfectly fine, while shadow detail wasn't crushed and remained visible throughout. Overall, sure, it's not 4K demo material, but it's still a great looking movie. It's got some suspect CGI, but I think it fits well within the context of the movie, and the movie is pretty decent, so it's easy to overlook, unlike some of those last few Marvel movies. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and give it an 8.5. For audio, this is one of the best sounding movies to come out this year. It might even be the best so far. It's fully active from start to finish with the excellent use of the height channels. There were a couple scenes I thought the heights should have come on, which didn't, but it didn't happen too often. And the movie's got a beefy amount of subwoofer usage. I'm gonna have to go with a 9.9. Now keep in mind that this is not a streaming review or 4K disc review, it's from the Kaleidescape, which is a downloadable file that comes in at 76.5 gigs. This will either look identical to the 4K disc or better. And if you're wondering why I haven't been doing disc reviews lately, it's because I'm getting the same quality or better on the Kaleidescape, and the movies come out weeks and sometimes months before the physical disc. So it wouldn't make sense for me to wait since I can tell you guys what the disc is likely to look like now using the Kaleidescape. Now if you want to pick this movie up, I'll leave some links down below in this video's description. As always guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again in the next video.